Hello, everyone. Welcome to our countdown to Engineers Week and Girl Day. I was about to say kickoff, but that happens in October. For those of you who weren't with us, we do launch a theme in October. Give us a shout in the chat. Tell us where you're from and what your role is. Tell us what are you planning? Give us some hints. We are super excited to talk with you today. Chat's disabled. Thank you, Marina, for that. The chat is disabled. It has foiled me. Well, then I'm just going to shout out some cities. Hey, chat should be working now. Hot dog. Megan was on it. The Dean of Curriculum has no time to mess around. Megan was on it from Northern Virginia. Winton, Greene County Engineers Office. Hello, Greene County Engineers Office. And shout out to our libraries, DC. Samia, I hope I pronounced that right. Remind me to talk to you about future city judges. We need in-person judges for future city in DC, in the DMV area. So futurecity.org is where you're going to go to register. BAE Systems, Raleigh, Farmington, Orlando. This is amazing. Northrop. Hello, California, Northrop. Nice to see you. We love our partners at Northrop. The charter schools, so many schools. Bob Johnson, Chicago longtime volunteer. It's very nice to see you. I guess you can see me, but you know what I mean. Colorado, Louisiana, Central Carolina. Oh my gosh, so much. And either I've missed it or I haven't seen it yet, but I haven't seen anybody else from Canada. Spoiler alert, I live in Canada. I'm the Canadian team member in Canada. The Air and Space Forces Association in Charleston, South Carolina. So nice to see you. I am so glad to see so many educators in this chat. Okay, I am going to get us started. Thanks everybody for telling us where you are. Dorothy, it's so nice I don't think I've ever actually seen you. Dorothy from Dawn Tech has been doing some Engineers Week activities, did some last week because I worked with her on some really amazing eWeek t-shirts for her org. We're going to talk about those too, because you can all get them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. And oh man, we have so much to do. So first off, this webinar is being recorded. It will be posted on DiscoverE. We will email the link to everybody next week. So if you don't hear from us for a couple of days, that's okay. We are going to get this to you. If you have questions, we do have a Q&A panel, but we've also got the chat open. So you are good to go. You can pop stuff into the chat. You can pop stuff into the Q&A. We'd love to see that. As mentioned, well, I don't know that I mentioned, but you might be able to see, my name is Sarah Moore, and I am the marketing manager here at DiscoverE. I am a former teacher. I spent a decade in middle school classrooms, a very brief little stint in an elementary school, a very brief little stint in high school, but mostly middle school. And I am so glad to be here and to be part of the DiscoverE team. I live in Mi'kma'ki, which is the traditional and unceded territories of the Mi'kmaq people in Nova Scotia, Canada. I'm the Canadian on board. So shout out to all of you who I'm so thrilled to see so many of our American friends on this call. But if you're from anywhere else, let me know in the chat. We have some truly amazing guests that I am so excited to speak to today. Michelle Warden has been in the Chicago Public Schools for the last 27 years. She has experience as a classroom teacher at several different grade levels, including the benchmark grades used for promotion. For the past 10 years, she has pivoted to the role of STEM specialist, which is a little bit of instructional coaching for staff and also managing the STEM lab for middle school students. How many of us were in a school where we got to have something so amazing as a STEM lab? Shout out to all of our STEM support teachers. Michelle especially enjoys working with her first LEGO League Challenge and the first LEGO League Discover team, which are for the 5th and 8th graders and 2nd and 4th graders. And we are so grateful to have Michelle with us today. You're going to get to see her in a second. And then we have Tamara Guillen and Jesus Reina. Tamara is the executive assistant to the dean at the Frank H. Dotterweich College of Engineering at Texas A&M University, Kingsville. Tamara has started working in the College of Engineering in October 2010, and during that time has been involved in various outreach and recruitment activities and programs, including summer camps and e-week activities, which is why she's with us today. She brings experience from previous position working in the TRIO programs at TAMUC, Upward Bound, and Upward Bound Math and Science. So grateful to have you here with us. And Reina, he goes by Reina. Reina is the Assistant Director of Student Recruitment and Outreach at Texas A&M University Kingsville College of Engineering. Reina plays a pivotal role in shaping the university's community. He leads efforts to connect with prospective students, providing insights to the programs that they offer. And he has a huge passion for higher education. He is committed to ensuring that every student feels welcome and informed about the exciting opportunities available at the College of Engineering and STEM. So we have some really great questions for them, and you're going to meet them in just a minute. But until then, did you know that we're only 5 weeks away? I know that we're only 5 weeks away because I've been planning this for just about a year. We picked this in around March, but actually I already know what 2025 is going to be. No spoilers. A little bit of a spoiler. We've got a 3-year cycle. So if you look at last year and you look at this year, you might be able to guess at what next year might be. It is 2024, which means we're 5 weeks from Engineers Week. Engineers Week this week is February 18th to the 24th, Sunday to Saturday. And Introduce a Girl to Engineering Day is technically on Thursday, February 22nd, but don't let that stop you. If you have plans for Girl Day on another day, every day is Girl Day. Every day is Girl Day. If you are supporting marginalized gender people being included and to see themselves represented in engineering, then that is Girls Day. So shout us out on social media when you post those pictures, whenever that is. At DiscoverE.org is our link everywhere. Okay, I want to know a little bit more about you. You told me where you were, but I want to know, are you a teacher, an educator? Do you work for a museum or a library, an engineer or technical professional? I know that we have some college students in here. And then what is the other? If you're the other, if none of it's those, tell us what you are in the chat. I'm super curious to know who are the people who actually plan the Engineers Week activities and participate in Engineers Week. Obviously, we want to celebrate engineers, technologists, and technicians, but I'm super excited to see what everybody says. Homeschool group leader, program manager, lovely, love. I did see somebody earlier say that they're from Colombia. Hola, and they are working on research while finishing your master's degree. Good for you. Good for you. Communication director of STEM for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northwest Indiana. I was in Indianapolis 2 summers ago. It was a gorgeous, gorgeous city. After school nonprofit, partnership specialist, organizing outreach, Sarah Mullen. We are about to be Sarah friends because we have ideas for you. Project manager in Palmdale, love to see it at Northrop, executive directors of nonprofits. Oh, thank you. Please keep filling that out because we are so curious to know who is organizing these things. Okay, today we want to talk about our theme. I'm going to talk a little bit about DiscoverE and who we are. Then we're going to talk about our theme for eWeek and Girl Day. I want to really put out a huge call about why people should be volunteering. So those of you who are engineers or technical professionals, I see 33% of our attendees. But if you work with engineers or technical professionals, get in classrooms, get in future city programs, get in different places and get out there and volunteer because it will revitalize your career. We're going to talk about that more. Also, how to get involved. So for those of you who are an engineer or a technical professional, or you're a teacher, or you're a university program specialist, whoever you are, we have things that you can do if you've only got 1 hour, right? Because that's the reality of some classrooms. I've certainly been there myself, or some spaces or some volunteers. If you have a half day, a full day, or multiple sessions, we have ideas for you so that you're not totally on your own. We also have a bunch of free resources, and we would love to do some audience questions. We're going to be talking to our panelists throughout this, so let's get into it. I love that Girl Scout picture. How cute is that? Love the Scouts. Who is DiscoverE? We are the E in STEM. We are the E, the engineering in STEM. We support educators and volunteers year round. We want to connect with volunteers and educators and partners. We want to educate the public about engineers and the critical work that they do. Engineers make a world of difference. And we want to celebrate engineers. And that is a huge part of what Engineers Week is. And so, yeah, that's part of what we do. Because we have a whole bunch of other stuff that we do. Also, we do Chats with Changemakers, which is a program that introduces kind of middle school and then like the parentheses around middle school kids to engineering careers by introducing them to actual engineers. It's streamed live into classes. We do Engineers Week and Introduce a Girl to Engineering Day. We have the Future City competition, which engages more than 70,000 kids, middle school kids and high school kids. If you didn't get the notice, we've started a high school pilot. So that engages a ton of kids around the world. Actually, we have, 5 teams coming from China for our international finals during Engineers Week. They all converge on Washington, D.C. And then also we support World Engineering Day, which is so huge. It is March 3rd, so it immediately follows Engineers Week. And we have plans for that too. We have on our website 170 plus engineering activities. If you are looking for activities as a volunteer, as an educator, as a parent to do with your kids, my kids are about to be home for a week. They're going to be doing some hands-on activities because they need to stimulate their brains. We have challenge videos. So we have real engineers talking kids through those and providing some really helpful insights. We talk about what is engineering. We have posters, ads, and art week. Artwork. We have a copyright-free photo library. If you are looking for photos for your marketing, if you're a marketing person like me and like Reina, and you're looking for photos, we have a copyright-free photo library that you can use. The photos, go for it. We also do outreach grants. We do E-Week and Girl Day outreach grants. Those come out around October, so be paying attention then. And we also do online self-guided trainings. Importantly, your knowledge is their future. We always like to say, transform a student's future, introduce them to engineering and tech. We have served 5.5 million students and parents and 300,000 volunteers and educators. And I can tell you our goal is to double that number. We would love to see 10 million served. So it is so great that you're here today and helping us and helping celebrate engineers. Engineers Week specifically, though, is a time to celebrate engineers and the field of engineering, and also to engage students in engineering. And so it's really critical. That's why we have Tamara and Reina and Michelle here to talk to us today about how do we actually get kids into this? How do we do this? You can find us discovere.org/engineersweek. And then our hashtag this year is #eweek2024. For those of you who are still on X, or you can use it on other social platforms. LinkedIn particularly really loves it. So shout out there. We have a huge call to action to volunteer. It is National Mentor Month, and we would love to see volunteers in these spaces. We need engineers, technicians, college students. I see 2% of you in here. We need you volunteering in classrooms and K-12 settings and at your university's programs. It's so good for educators. I will tell you, as somebody who left my classroom 2 years ago to come to this amazing program, I'm educator adjacent, I like to call myself now. Post-pandemic has been really hard for teachers. All of you probably know a teacher, or you are a teacher, an educator of some sort, after school library, makerspace. It's been rough, man. And we need volunteers in our classrooms. It's also really good for students because not only is it really important that they don't just see their teacher's face. It's kind of like Charlie Brown after a while. It's really important that they hear from other people and that they get excited about people actually doing it. It's really important for them to see themselves modeled. And to see that it is just normal people. It's not superhuman people. Although I do think that engineers, technologists, and technicians do have a degree of superhero in them, but it's really important for them to have those role models. So please get into that classroom. And then if that didn't convince you, it's actually really good for you. We hear this all the time from engineers, technologists, and technicians who go and volunteer, whether it's at an E-Week event, in a classroom, as a future city mentor or judge, Volunteering boosts morale and increases career satisfaction. One of my best examples of this is Art Pugh. Shout out to the APWA, the American Public Works Association. Art Pugh last year was a special award judge at our Future City competition, and he was on a show about 2 weeks later, a week later maybe, where he had 10 minutes to talk about the APWA, and he spent half of his time talking about Future City and what an amazing program it was. So it revitalizes you in your career. It makes you remember that these little humans are going to be your future colleagues. So get in there and volunteer, please, please, please. And 74% of educators agree that students don't really have a lot of chances unless they have an engineer in their family. They don't have many chances to meet engineers, and it is really critical that they do. So we can change that. You can change that. You yourself can change that by going and volunteering in a space. So get in there. Shout out to Blake Young in the chat, who volunteers through the Illinois Society of Professional Engineers. Thank you for volunteering, Blake. Girl Day is a little bit slightly different of a focus than E-Week, although it happens during E-Week. Girl Day is a time to focus on engaging girls and students of marginalized gender in engineering and technology, really making sure that engineering is open to everyone. We've been saying that for about a year now since the Messages Matter research came out. I mean, I'm sure Thea has said it longer, but it's really been something that we've really worked with so many of our coalition and community partners to really demystify that engineering is open to everyone, and engineering needs a bunch of diverse voices and a bunch of diverse life experiences in the field to be the most effective that it can be. So Girl Day really helps us find that time to engage students of marginalized gender, to get in there. And I've got a little video for you in a minute that shows two alarming statistics around the status of women in engineering today. Hey, actually, it was the next slide. Look at me queuing it up like a professional here, people. Okay, I'm going to stop talking because this also has really incredible music. So in case you didn't see those stats, I know they fly by so fast. Only 16% of engineers are women, identify as women, and of all of the engineering bachelor's degrees awarded every year, 4%, only 4%. Nope, let me say this a different way. Of all the engineering bachelor's degrees awarded every year, the number of Black, African American, Latina, and Native American women who get those, it's only 4% get those. I know those captions go fast. I've got a slower version that's going to be up on our website for people to use. So we will get that out to everybody. Okay. My slide changer disappeared. I would love to invite Michelle and Reina and Tamara to turn on their cameras and come and join me. If you guys have questions, if you, the audience, have questions as we are going through this, please feel free to drop them into the Q&A or into the chat. The Q&A will be quicker because that's where I'm looking, but continue to use the chat. So thank you again so much, Tamara and Reina and Michelle, for joining us, for making time out of your very busy days to come and be with us. We are so excited to have you. So very briefly, let's give the audience, because I got to chat with you guys last week at detail, but very briefly, introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your e-week plans. I'll get Michelle to go first, and then I'll tag in Tamara and then Reina.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Michelle Warden. I'm at Wadsworth STEM Elementary School, public school in Chicago. On the South Side, we have a STEM focused program. I am, as she said in the introduction, the STEM lab specialist and the STEM instructional coach for 4th through 8th grade. So for our e-week plans, I really try to make it, I start much earlier. So in January this month, we had a school-wide career focuses. So we were already looking at what I want to be when I grow up, and all the students from pre-K to 8 participate in this, and they're talking about their careers of the future. I always have some posters up at that point of STEM careers. So I'm first looking at all STEM careers. And then we lead into February, where our school-wide theme is a legacy of innovation and engineering. And that's when we tie in, obviously, e-weeks. And I love the DiscoverE E resources. I lean into them quite frequently. But we also tie in other things. So I usually give a school-wide challenge. This year, the school-wide challenge will be designing the skyscrapers of the future. And we'll be looking at, we're using some of the resources again from DiscoverE as to inspire us as inspiration, but teachers are encouraged, classrooms are encouraged to run with it in different directions. But their skyscraper challenges will be looking at the smallest footprint or base, but also looking at the smaller environmental footprint when it comes to our middle school students. When 4th through 8th we're asking them to like step it up. So not just the small base and tall tower, but small environmental footprint. And I guide them through that throughout the month. So each week in February, they're working on a different part of the design process till we culminate in a gallery walk, when all the classes will put their solutions and their prototypes in the hallway for a gallery walk. And then we will have some judging with a rubric, and we will pick some winners and have some prizes.
I love that. Shout out to all the educators who are still using gallery walks. It's such a good way to get there and to get kids talking about that. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Tamara, and then Reina.
Hello, everybody. Can y'all hear me right? I apologize. I'm getting over the flu that I had last week, so just bear with me. But we have a lot of items planned for e-week, and I'll let Reina go into that a little bit more. I worked real heavily with our outreach and recruitment, as including our e-week activities. Now Reina is our new assistant director for that, so he's going to be taking over a lot of the duties and responsibilities, so that will have me back off a little bit. So I'm going to let him actually talk about what we have planned, just because, like I said, he is new and he is going to be taking over. And if anybody has any questions, I can, feel free to pop in and let everybody know. And I also try to be in the chat as well, just because like you could hear my voice a little bit. But yes, I will be definitely around to answer any questions, or you maybe throw in some suggestions for everybody as well.
That's awesome. And thank you for being with us. It's so great to have a veteran planner who's been here. That experience is so critical. But Reina, you're the new person in charge. So tell us about the plans there at Texas A&M and at Kingsville, Texas A&M.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Also, thank you so much, Tam. Hello, my name is Reina. You already know my title. Some of the plans that we have going on, we're gonna be having a full week of events. We will be having our kickoff block party to kind of initiate the week. Really just let people know what's going on. Hopefully form more of a community. My biggest focus is to ensure that we have more of a community feel at A&M Kingsville at the College of Engineering, because sometimes it can be very difficult for engineers to connect from different parts of the country, but it can also be very difficult for engineers to connect even at the same college. So what I'm striving for is to ensure that the community here feels like a community, that they are the community, right? So we have our kickoff block party just to initiate it. On Tuesday, we'll be having an alumni spotlight. This is more focused on obviously alumni, but an opportunity to interact with those alumni to see what the future can be for a alumni from A&M Kingsville. So that's what we'll be doing on Tuesday. Wednesday's a little bit different. Wednesday, we're going to be doing student engagement. Essentially, this is going to be a 4-hour block that I'm going to be committed to going out and talking to our student body, even faculty and staff, and really getting their story and why they would encourage others to pursue a path in engineering. My job has always seemed to be like a conduit of information, right? So I'm trying to see what these other experts or students what they see and what they think and what they feel, and I want to harness that to try to reach out to even more people who might think or see or feel in a similar way about why they should go into engineering. Thursday will be our girl day. That's a very exciting time. That's actually I'll be honest, that's actually probably my highest priority day out of the entire week, because it can already be intimidating enough trying to become an engineer, right? It can already seem so distant. Like, what does that mean? What I really want to do is focus in on these young people, women or girls, so that way they can know that they can also be that they can be that engineer, that they have everything that it takes to be that engineer as well. That is something that I'm really trying to approach in a way where I can make sure, as if I'm talking to my little sister, to let her know you can be an engineer. That's really how I'm approaching that day, making it personal, really. And then to end everything off, we have our design competition, which is still in development. That's going to be our opportunity to invite other schools from the community, Corpus Christi area, Kingsville, the rural South Texas areas. Invite them here so that way we can create, again, that community feel that we're hoping to achieve on our Monday kickoff block party. Thank you.
I am so excited to hear these Texas A&M Kingsville and also Michelle, how you guys are taking Engineers Week and making so much out of it. Now, that is to say to the audience, obviously there are so many people who can do an hour or who can do, a day of activities. And we are grateful for that. That is awesome too. But one of the reasons that we invited Reina and Tamara is to come in and talk about how, like, the variety of different events, in case there's something that really speaks to our audience around, maybe they want to do this type of event or this type of event. And then Michelle also, like, that so many of us who are in a classroom or educator setting where we're dealing with curriculum realize the value of, you can't just do a project that only hits one thing. Everything has to be kind of multi-curricular these days in order to hit all of our targets. And so I really value how you're able to weave the different layers and school goals into the stuff that you're planning. So I want to talk more with both sets of you about that. And I want to start a little bit by talking about Messages Matter, which was a year-long research report generously supported by UEF, STEM Next, Northrop. I shout out to our Northrop. I know there's many people from Northrop in our call here today, and the NSPE. I know that there's some NSPE and then local SPEs around. So shout out to all of you. Messages Matter is this really in-depth report, and essentially what it came out to after a year-long study of interviewing parents and students. We kind of knew this from research that was done a while ago, and this just reconfirmed where we are, that most students don't actually know what engineering is. Most K-12 students don't actually know. So it's really important. If you are an engineer, if you're a technologist, a technician, if you are working with engineers, technologists, or technicians, these are the things that we want you to say. These are the pieces that is so important for you when you're talking about your job and what you do. Engineering is open to everyone. Engineering is well paid. This is really critical. This is what parents and students are looking for, that it's really creative, that it's not, kind of sitting and doing box checking work, that there is a lot of creative pieces that come to it. It's very collaborative. It's all about teamwork, and that you're making the world a better place. You are making the world a better place just by being here and just by trying to help support this. So those are some things that we would love for you to share if you're talking about engineering. So Michelle, I guess to go along with that, my question is, what excites your students when they learn about engineering?
the first thing I thought about was that first of all, they're surprised when they learn there's so many areas of engineering. First of all, that there's not just one, you're an engineer and this means this, but there are so many types of engineer careers. And again, just if any people, plugging you guys' site, DiscoverE, that whole page of the different areas of engineering careers is really helpful when our students are looking them up and trying to see what they would be interested in. So that's one thing that I think that surprises them, and they get a little excited about, that there's more than one path they can go into to be an engineer. The other thing that excites them is they love the hands-on projects. They love doing things. I mean, we probably, all of you as adults probably remember the things you loved most when you were students was when you got to do a project. And so these are, I think, a step above when when we try to specifically do engineering challenge projects. And it's much more a thinking and innovative thing rather than a recipe. Here, follow these steps, and now you've got a gingerbread man. Now they're solving problems, so they do really get excited about it. And then finally, I'm not gonna lie, they really want to know that they can make a good living with this as a career as well. It pays. So if they go into engineering as a career, they could potentially really enjoy it and love what they do, be able to stimulate their minds, and they'll have a comfortable living, because that does matter to them as well. And I guess my last one was, I think that they find it pretty inspiring that what they do could have a lasting legacy as well, can be something that makes a difference and will be around for a while.
That legacy piece, right? Like, kids want to know that what they're going to do matters. And yeah, that absolutely mirrors all of the experiences that I had. Yes, great. What about Reina, Tamara? Do you have any examples of, I guess this might be more of a Tamara question because Reina's new, but what is a student experience when you have students on your campus? What is something that really stands out to you that they really just enjoyed about the e-week activities that you put on?
Well, from my experience, the students, they like to, for one, they get out of school, so they're always happy about that. But when they come to our facilities and to our campus, we try to do a lot of engagement because we want to keep them focused. So for our Girl Day last year, what we did was we had some alumni guest speaker, we had some female guest speakers from industry come up and talk to the girls, and then from there we gave them a nice lunch, and we did a small little hands-on activity with our SWE members, and so they had a lot of fun. In between, we try to do like little raffles for them. For our Girl Day and for our competition, we always give the students a little like drawstring bag. They get a t-shirt for coming and participating. So that just all gets them excited that, they are here to learn different things. And we try to, like I said, just try to engage them as much as possible and keep that interest being piqued. So a lot of our activities, we try to use household items, even though they're a little bit more intricate activities, but we try to use items that you could find in your office, at your house, and that way we get them thinking about how can we turn this into something engineering related or STEM related. And so that there gets them thinking on how they can make the design, but also how they can make it their own unique design as well. Like Michelle said, not just this, cookie cutter type thing, you just follow the directions. We actually encourage them to make their own design unique. And so that always gets them excited as well too.
I really love how both of you really identified something so critical, which is that kids actually kind of are engineers, right? Like they do have the ability to critically and creatively think about things and to think divergently about how to solve problems, and they come up with their own unique ideas. Something that Michael Pierce, who was a Chats with Changemakers guest and has done some work with us supporting Messages Matter, something that he said, he's a software quality engineer. And he said, kids are the best at becoming software quality engineers because my job is to break stuff. And kids are really good at thinking divergently around how something should work and breaking it. And that really has stood out with me, that, one of the things that I really valued as an educator was seeing kids find it within themselves. So it's one thing to like have those role models. That's so important that we're providing those experiences. And then like that light bulb moment of the kid going, oh, I could do this. This is me. I just always really love those moments. So thank you both for those amazing answers. If you only have an hour, I do see a question from Timothy. We're going to get you are queuing me up for my next question, friend. Thank you so much for that. If you only have an hour in a classroom with a student, as a volunteer, as a technologist or an engineer, something that you could do is do a hands-on engineering activity. There are so many. We have 170. Our engineering activities are really geared around low cost and recycled materials that lots of people will have access to. It's not a bunch of specialty equipment, because we really want to break that down and make sure. You can see in this great example, like paper cups, rulers, straw. Well, I guess straw. I don't know about you guys. Straws are a little bit harder to find, plastic straws in Canada right now. But there's all kinds of different things that you can find. So do a hands-on engineering activity, visit a classroom or an after-school group, a library, a makerspace, and then talk about your career, present about not just your career and not just your field, but the variety that are out there. Those are definitely some ways that you can engage with students in 1 hour. And when you're talking with students, we know no matter who you are, if you're in this chat, this information on this slide is for you. We know that there is a formula for success in building a student STEM identity. We know how to do it, and it is repeatable and it is successful. You should share positive engineering messages. Engineers make money. Engineers make a world of difference. Engineering is open to everyone. You should do hands-on activities and active facilitation, which means don't take over for the kids. Don't be like, no, don't do it that way. Do it this way, which we all know, but it's worth saying out loud. Really ask guiding questions. Why did you do it that way? What if there was a high wind? How would you have to change that? Like ask some of those guiding questions. And then support interactions with STEM role models. Get into a classroom, get an engineer into your classroom or your university or your makerspace or your library. This creates STEM positive students. This builds a student's STEM identity so that as they grow over time, they will consider themselves STEM candidates and pursue STEM careers. We know that this exists. If you're looking for engineering activities, our engineering activities website has just been revamped. You can filter by time, like how long it takes you, the grade, the subject, the discipline, so like the field of engineering, and then what type. So we have hands-on video, we have at-home instructions. Shout out to those virtual teachers in the chat. You can also participate in Chats with Changemakers. Bring your classroom, come as an engineer and listen to how other engineers talk about their careers. Kavya is a student host. She's a high school student out of New Jersey who just got accepted to UPenn. Shout out to Kavya. We're so proud of you. 9 out of 10 educators and volunteers rate Chats as effective or highly effective. And our next one is next week, with this very dapper looking Avery Lane from NSBE, who was one of our international judges at Future City Finals last year. And we are so excited to talk to Avery and to partner with NSBE, especially like leading into Black History Month in February. This is going to be a really important one. So Timothy, here's your question. We were ready for you. What advice would you give to an engineer or technician who wants to get involved, or an educator who wants to invite an engineer or find local events? So Reina, do you want to talk about how you approach educators in schools to the events that you're having on campus?
Yeah, sure. So number one is people got to know you exist, right? So social media, emails, phone calls, you got to reach out to these people, right? If you're not online, if you're not digital, if you're not communicating, you don't exist. And that's number one. And that's super easy. That's a massive problem, is that many people don't know about people or organizations that exist. And that is also the easiest problem to solve. All it takes is reaching out. The next thing is developing a relationship and developing trust, right? Following up. It can be a bit intimidating. The truth is, it can be intimidating to try to reach out and connect with these people. Not just intimidating, but sometimes it can also be maybe visions didn't align as much as you thought or hoped, right? The solution to that is just getting together, getting on the same page, moving forward with what you can do, what you can offer, what they can offer, what they have, what you have, and then finding a way to make that work. When it comes to connecting with these educators I'm sorry, when it comes to trying to find an educator to connect with, sometimes you got to go through the system. You got to contact the receptionist at the school or the principal. And then if there is something available, typically they will guide you in the right direction. They want to help the students as well. So from what I've seen from my experience here is that all you got to do is reach out. You never know what will happen unless you just reach out. The answer will always be no. If for every question you don't ask, the answer will always be no, right? With that said, how to reach out, Google. Literally, it's as easy as that. Just Google what is a local school, try to find which schools have engineering programs already, or even if they don't, just reach out and see if they're interested in having some kind of opportunity where you can discuss ideas with them about producing a program or contributing to a program that might already exist. All it takes is Google, an email, and a follow-up phone call. And that's how you can connect with these educators. In my professional opinion, that's as simple and as complex as it can be to connect with these educators. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it totally answered the question, and you're totally right. And I'll give an extra couple of ideas. Another one is if your teachers have some kind of collective, whether that's a union or a working group or something that reaches like all of the teachers in the school district that you're nearby, that like go directly to the teachers group. That's always a good way. And then the other way is most school districts, and Michelle, like, correct me if I'm wrong here, most school districts at like the district level usually always also have like a STEM coordinator or somebody who's looking at like 21st century competencies, a curriculum instructor, somebody who you could reach out to who could then also disseminate that information through those schools. So that might be another way if you're kind of looking at inviting lots of people. That would be some more ways. If you're running a really great activity that you want to invite a bunch of schools to, brilliant, Reina. That is totally it. You got to get on Google and you just got to get out there and start inviting people. Michelle, what about on your side? Because you're now working in a role where you're inviting educators who are in a classroom setting to participate in the activities that you're organizing, but also, you've been in the classroom setting and you're also working with engineers and volunteers. How do you go about sending that messaging and getting a hold of these people to organize them?
There's a lot of things, but first I just want to say you are absolutely right about at the district level. That is one way that my school has been connected quite frequently, is through organizations wanting to connect with the CPS school. They go through our STEM department, and then the STEM department will kind of set you up with schools that they think would be a fit or would be open to it. On the teacher and educator side, and as the coordinator side, school-based, what I try to do, especially in the beginning when I first was in this role, I said yes to everything. All opportunities, I was taking them. I just yes. All as much as possible until I could start knowing which partnerships were the strongest ones, which worked best for us. But in the beginning, if you're a teacher or a school-based specialist at the moment, you just have to like take a leap of faith. You maybe don't know if it's going to work out, but please say yes, open your doors. And honestly, I can't say that I've ever regretted it. Any of the partnerships, any of the visitors, some have been more successful than others, but every experience, every exposure the students have had has been a valuable one and a worthwhile one. So first, just say yes if you're a teacher. If you're an engineer or a company reaching out, wanting to just volunteer, do your part. Don't be nervous about it. We're the teachers, and they're the nervous ones, believe it or not, because we're not engineers. They're slightly intimidated by your career. So just coming in, and when you get a chance to talk to someone, set each other at ease. The engineers, just say, I want to partner with you. I feel like I would, I respect what you do, and I want to support what you do, and I want to, I want to do something to support you and your students. And the teacher, in turn, be open and don't be intimidated. Be open and willing to like be a little vulnerable and say thank you. And again, I think it was Tamara or Reina said, then let the communication begin. And it'll be a win-win for everybody, but especially for the students, because they don't know what an engineer is. It's all theoretical until a real person walks into the room and they see it's just a real person, just a normal person, and you take some of the mystery away, that this is what this career is, this is what I do, and here, let me give you a little sample of it.
Yeah, I really love that. And there was two like corollary questions that came up with this, which is how do you connect students in underserved communities? I was a Title I educator for the majority of my career, and I will say that I had more flexibility as a Title I educator, as an inner city teacher, to have people come in and participate. When I worked in kind of higher socioeconomic schools, there was more of a pressure to like stay aligned to the curriculum and the pacing. So the simple answer that I have for you, Alexis, and for anybody who's looking to get in there and really support areas in underserved communities, go to the school, go to the teacher, go to the school secretary. They have all the power. They will absolutely connect you with the right people. So just ask is my answer. And the other one is out of school educators. So those of you who run after school programs, not classroom educators, how do you get volunteers? Talk to the engineering communities, NSBE, the National Society of Black Engineers, SHIP, the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, CAACE is Cuban American, like Google Professional Engineering Society in your city. There are engineers nearby who will come and work with you, and they have volunteers, and they often also connect with universities. So those are my answers. Oh my gosh, you guys, we're running out of time. Look, and I had a whole slide. Talk to local universities, talk to local engineering firms. If you have a half day or a full day, you can invite a student to shadow your work. I can't go through all these. Let me give a shout out to Future City. Future City is a middle school STEM competition. We are looking for judges for this weekend. There's regional competitions in like 22 areas. And then internationally, our finals is in February, the end of February, Engineers Week in Washington, D.C. So if you're in the DMV, go to futurecity.org/register and come be a volunteer, come be a judge for us this weekend or in February. And the next slide was that. Thank you, Ellen, for shouting that out. Go and do that. What are some highlights? Okay, I'm going to be very specific because I know that we've only got 10 minutes left. Reina, can you talk to me about the Girl Day panel and the design competition?
Yes, absolutely. So when it comes to the Girl Day panel, we'll start there. We definitely want to find people who ideally can fit different demographics. So someone who might be a brand new alumni, and then someone who might be a little bit more of a seasoned alumni now. We also want to include in that panel a current student, and if possible, even a teacher. I mean, really, we want to try to get as many different perspectives as we can for this panel, because you never know who's going to actually speak, who's going to reach that one student who has that question, or who just listens more to someone who is more seasoned versus someone who is still a student, right? The idea with the panel is going to be to try to get collect a group of folks who might be able to speak and reach out to these students on a more individual, on a more personal level. And since we don't know who's going to speak to who best, we're hoping to have that variety available in that panel. In regard to the design competition, what we want to do really is connect the community, our local or regional community with our immediate College of Engineering community, right? The activities that we have for that day are going to be developed so that way we can make sure that there is interaction and engagement, not just hands-on. Now, hands-on is amazing. It's right, really important, letting the students get their hands, their hands dirty, right? But also that they can achieve whatever it is that they're trying to achieve, but also form community, also form friendships, not just with each other and the faculty and staff, but even these other students, because these students are, like you said, these are the young humans, the little humans that are going to be our colleagues one day, that are going to be running the show one day. I believe that we should also encourage them to develop relationships with one another. So that way, when they do come here, if they come here, or if they go somewhere else, right, another university, that they can at least know that they are not alone, that there are so many other people who feel just like them, trying to figure out engineering, trying to figure out that path. So my hope is that whatever activities that we do as we continue to develop them, that it will be community focused. I guess you could say networking, but they're younger folks, so I kind of want to say building friendships as opposed to like networking, professional networking. That is our hope with the events that we're going to be having on Design Competition Day.
I love that so much. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see the photos about what you're going to do. If you have multiple sessions, with kids, if you're fortunate enough, go and mentor. We're always looking for people to get involved more long-term. You can form a team and compete in future city competitions if you're an educator, including after school and out of program educators. Integrate hands-on activities, engineering activities into your curriculum. Michelle, this is my question for you, because you spoke to it a little bit earlier of like you start in January and then also in February you do some stuff. Talk about like those multi-session activities in that curriculum for me.
So what I try to do is come from different angles so that all my different teachers can participate, but also showing the students that we can do one day quick, fun engineering challenges, but then there are other things where maybe we're going to build it up and put a lot of thought into it, do some research and have iterations. So when we come to February, I always also try to tie it to Black History Month. Someone mentioned that already as a question. So I do that every year. February is Black History Month, plus it's E-Week, and I kind of bring them together. That therefore our theme of legacy of engineering and innovation. This year, the challenge is, will you design the skyscraper of the future? February 2nd, they will be empathizing, defining, ideating. The week of February 8th, ideating, begin their prototyping. February 16th, testing and improving their prototypes. And then the following week, the last week, they will have that gallery walk I talked about earlier. But I also try to look for ways to for the ELA teachers to enter into this, the social science teachers to enter into it. I'll find literature. This year, I wanted to focus on engineering firms rather than individual people. So Ardmore Roderick, a Black-owned company, one of 3 firms helping to oversee the design and construction of a major train modernization project that's happening in Chicago right now. McKissick and McKissick Architects and Engineers, one of the oldest minority-owned professional design and construction firms in the U.S. The CEO is also a woman. And Mae Whiteside Williams grew up in public housing, something many of my students will relate to. We are a Title I school, by the way. She runs an engineering firm, and she's the owner and CEO of CKL Engineers. So I try to look for local connections and then representation of my student population. And we just kind of bring it all together, spend a whole month on that, and it's school-wide, pre-K through 8th participate in this.
I love that so much. I'm so excited to hear more about how that goes in another month from you. please, everybody, celebrate Engineers Week with us. Tell people that it's Engineers Week. Organize friendly inter-office competitions. Attend an e-week lunch. I saw somebody tagged us on Insta that they're doing like an axe throwing. It's a local, like I think it's Austin, Texas, maybe axe throwing. They're getting all the engineers together. Like just get together and do that. Public proclamations from elected officials. All of those are things. We're not going to have time for this question, but Reina, you and I at some point are going to have to do something recorded where we talk specifically about like the marketing side of it. And I want to shout you out because you have such great ideas on how we're collecting the stories of engineers and engineering students and engineering professors and then disseminating that. So I just wanted to give you a shout out for that. And we are going to have to do something in the future. If you have questions in the chat, now is the time to pop them in there because we've got just a couple of minutes left. But I wanted to make sure that you knew about our free downloadable resources. We have ads, logos, graphics, bookmarks, including Spanish and English. So you can see one of our examples is here. It's got an engineering activity on it, and they're available in English and in Spanish for you to download and get printed. We have this Zoom background that you can see here. I have the e-week, and we also have the Girl Day one. We have motion graphics, sample posts, customizable language. There's all kinds of things available at discovere.org/downloadable-resources. We have 5 reasons to love engineering, the outreach talking points, and the toolkits. Timothy, this is where I was saying, go and find the volunteer planning guides, the outreach talking points. These are the things that you should just review really quickly and that will support you in having really great activities. We also have a store. So if you're looking for t-shirts, if you're looking for these stickers are so cool, you guys, we have I love engineering. I know my thing's not going to show it. Engineering. We have holographic ones and glitter ones and all kinds of great stickers in bulk. They're really cheap. Hoodies and t-shirts and water bottles and so much more. Don't forget the World Engineering Day is also coming up. I will stick around for another couple of minutes in case there are other questions, but Reina and Tamara and Michelle, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else that you want to say right at the end? Was there anything else that you want to say to wrap up?
Sure, I can finish it off if that's all right. Started off. First of all, I want to thank you all for your time and tuning in here. I mean, truly to see the community that is even here and how, you know, how we're all coming together to share these ideas. I mean, it really does speak volumes about the engineering community, right? We're all here trying to make a difference. It's not about us. It's not about me. It's about what we can do for them, those young people that we're trying to reach out to, right? The path, the future that we want to guide them into. I think that truly speaks volumes about this community. And so thank you all as well for tuning in and hearing these ideas, asking these questions, getting our minds going. Truly, thank you all.
Ditto. Engineers and professionals that are in this webinar right now, thank you on behalf of school staff. I thank you for your time and your interest in participating in something like this. And educators, you guys are the ones, you're rock stars because you're taking a step above and beyond. You can just be down to the basics and stick it to the curriculum, which is also important, but you're doing the extra with this. And so thank you to you guys as well.
Thank you, everyone. Reina, actually, he summed it up for me as well, but that's pretty much, I was going to say that, yeah, it's about communication. So that way we could find what's best for the students and to help them learn and to encourage them as well. That a lot of students, they feel that the STEM, especially engineering, are very intimidating. We tell them that it's not, it's just, you know, math and science are your tools. And so the better we can show them through the little activities, the more at ease and the more excited they get about our programs.
Thank you all again for being with us. I have one last request of all of our attendees and anybody who's watching this later. Please, please, please tag us on social media. We want to see your photos. We want to shout out the amazing things that you're doing. At DiscoverE.org is our handle. I'm the person who hits that retweet and reshare and remix button. So I would love to talk about all of the amazing things that happen. So hit us up. Thanks everybody for being with us. And we're on the countdown. Very close to 4 weeks left. Happy almost Engineers Week, everybody.